You are tuned to Channel 11.
CHCH-TV, 40 years and beyond. On June 7th, 1954, Kenneth Sobel launched CHCH Television, a privately owned CBC affiliate. CHCH aired approximately 65 hours of programming a week and had a staff of 30 people. In 1961, CH disaffiliated itself from the CBC to become Canada's first English-language independent TV station. The advent of cable resulted in CH being available to most Toronto homes on basic cable. Through the years, Channel 11 has been well known for its movies. First-run movies like The Godfather, which CHCH aired in 1974 before any other broadcaster in the world. For its event television, airing miniseries like Rich Man, Poor Man in 1976, and for its sports coverage, which in the past has included the Toronto Maple Leafs and CFL football. In 1982, CH became part of CanCom's satellite-delivered programming service, resulting in distribution of our signal to remote and rural communities across the country. This has helped CH attain a total national reach of 3.7 million people. And in late 1992, after many years of ownership uncertainties, CH became part of the Wick family.
As we prepare to celebrate our 40th anniversary in June, we look forward to many new opportunities, but also face some tough decisions regarding our future in the quickly evolving 200-channel universe. The proliferation of new services, which will result from both U.S. direct broadcast satellites and cable compression, will challenge every broadcaster to provide the best possible programming to their available audience. For the most part, people watch programs with no real regard for which station is broadcasting the show. In the case of news and public affairs programming, however, audiences develop true preferences and trust in the station that provides their news. Strong local news will be key to the long-term survival of independent stations. In the recent past, CHCH has tried unsuccessfully to be a Toronto station, while we continue to compete vigorously with Toronto stations for programming. When it comes to news, CH has returned to what we do best: producing news for Hamilton and the Niagara region. We have already begun to see the benefits of this strategy, and the next step will be to see the entire CHCH management group become much more involved in the community which we serve and the organizations which serve the community. The City of Hamilton and CHCH have both come a long way since 1954, but like many other Canadian cities, Hamilton was hard hit by the recession, and its employment base has shifted from a primarily steel-based economy to a much more high-tech, medical, education, and research base. In the ensuing years, the Hamilton and Toronto media markets have effectively merged, and we compete vigorously with Toronto-based stations for our share of the $370 million in television spending. While CHCH has access to Toronto advertising revenues, we must also compete with the Toronto stations, including 2 regional networks, to acquire programming. The competitive nature of the market often results in Toronto acquisition costs equal to 70% of national rights costs. When the CRTC approved the Wick purchase of CHCH, we committed to spend $9 million over 5 years on public benefits, of which $3.5 million was to be used for improvements in our news operation. Our news control room, modeled after BCTV, has resulted in great improvements in our on-air look. 2 new microwave vehicles were purchased to make it possible for CH to provide live local news coverage wherever it's happening. Our Queen's Park Bureau was expanded to include a second camera operator and a complete editing suite. CH also established an independent satellite news bureau in Montreal to provide news coverage for ISN member stations across the country. This is Studio A, where the sitcom Boogie's Diner is currently being shot. Boogie's has now cleared 68% of U.S. markets, and we are hoping an extension to our present 26-episode contract is imminent. This studio has also recently been home to the game show Supermarket Sweep and our annual Mother's Day Telethon. Our telecenter on King Street is used primarily for independent productions, but utilization of this facility has varied over the past 5 years, and management is presently examining several options for redevelopment of this asset. Our two mobiles have been a significant part of our past. The Super Cruiser and Ultra Cruiser, with their talented and well-respected crews, have traveled from Halifax to Calgary and from Buffalo to Detroit. This fall, the Super Cruiser will be traveling to Victoria, British Columbia to help cover the Commonwealth Games. Our mobiles have covered virtually every type of event, and most recently we provided live coverage of the John Candy Memorial to television stations across Canada. The combined age of our mobiles is, however, 40 years, and one of the many decisions facing our management team is whether or not our future within Westcom should include a continued commitment to mobiles, and thus the capital investment necessary to upgrade our equipment to long-term competitive levels. The CHCH transmitter is located on what Hamiltonians call the mountain, 320 feet above the city on the Niagara Escarpment. The transmitter was installed in 1974 and needs replacing within the next 2 years. In its finest hour, CHCH had revenues of $52 million. Our best operating profit was in 1984, a year that saw revenues of $47 million and an operating income before tax and depreciation of $8.3 million. The past 5 years, however, have not been easy on CHCH. Uncertainties over ownership and the downturn in the economy have seen CH's revenue decline 22% since 1990. The advent of the global television network and Bayton's move toward a second regional network has also made it tough for an independent station to effectively compete. The CRTC's approval of WIC's ownership application in December 1992 and the improvement in the economy have helped considerably, but much more still needs to be done to achieve an acceptable return on revenue and investment. I am fortunate enough to have an excellent management team who have between them 155 years of combined service to CHCH. Reg McGuire has been CHCH's Vice President and General Manager since 1988. He has been with the company for 34 years, rising through the operations side of the business. I couldn't ask for a better partner. Neil McLean is Vice President of Finance. A designated chartered accountant, Neil joined CH in 1983 as the controller and has been Vice President Finance since 1987. John Best is Vice President of News and Current Affairs. He joined CH in 1980 and is founding director and president of Independent Satellite News, as well as being a published author. Jim Mercer is Vice President of Engineering. He is a fellow Scot, which doesn't mean he's cheap, just shrewd in the capital investments he makes on your behalf. Jim has been actively recruited by just about every major broadcaster, but Hamilton is home. Mike Siverns is Vice President of Sales and Marketing. He joined CHCH in January 1993 after working as the Vice President of Television Sales for All Canada. A vital component of Mike's sales team is Ron Eberly, local sales manager, who joined us in March 1993 after 8 years as retail sales manager at CFRN Television in Edmonton. Cheryl Heaney is our program manager. She has risen through the programming ranks at CH and now heads the department. Cheryl is a tireless team player who has brought a new level of communication to the sales programming relationship. Rob Dilworth is Director of Research Services. Rob is one of the best research people in the business and was most recently Vice President Marketing and Research at TVB. Will Fenn is Manager of Operations and has been with us since 1963. Over the years, Wilf has been an operating supervisor and the technical coordinator. He became operations manager in 1988. John Hay is our manager of data operations. He joined the station in 1987 after 18 years at CHML Y95 Radio in Hamilton. John is also a computer studies professor at Mohawk College. Ron Binns is manager of production and promotion. He has been with CHCH since 1973 and over the years has been an editor, technical director, and production services manager. CH's management team is focused on developing long-term strategic operating and technical plans to take the station into the next century. At the forefront of this plan is improving our airtime sales. Mike Siverins and his team are hard at work to position CHCH as a marketing partner and continuing to develop long-term relationships with advertisers and their media buyers. 1994 has seen our sales team make and often exceed their monthly budgets in local, national, and U.S. sales. Airtime revenue, however, is directly related to the rating points generated by the schedule. CHCH has a reputation for acquiring good programs and then losing them to the competition. Inconsistency in ratings delivery has unfortunately been the consequence. Our programming strategy under Cheryl Heaney has focused on early renewal of key programs such as Primetime Live, 48 Hours, and Sequest. The acquisition of proven titles such as Unsolved Mysteries, Rescue 911, and the strip rights to Wings. We have also been successful in acquiring network simulcast movies of the week. We have already begun to see a sharp increase in agency confidence, which we hope will reflect tangible increases in revenue share as we approach the presentation of our new fall schedule in June of this year. Our news operation, with an annual operating budget of $5.5 million, is also a significant focus of our strategic planning. Our popular anchor team of Connie Smith and Dan McLean host the News at Noon, a one-hour package which also promotes local events, as well as First Edition at 5:30. At 6 o'clock, it's the Evening News with Donna Skelly, which focuses primarily on the provincial scene. At 6:30, it's Canada Tonight with Tony Parsons, WIC's national newscast from BCTV. Our news concludes at 11 o'clock with Final Edition, hosted by Jennifer Mossop, a comprehensive wrap-up of the day's news. We are all very excited about what the future has to offer CHCH. We are presently preparing an application to the CRTC to establish a rebroadcast transmitter in the Ottawa area, thus expanding our viewership, advertising base, and our ability to compete in a marketplace which is currently being dominated by regional buying. Through WIC, we are a partner in the Second City Comedy Channel application. The application was filed in September, and hearings in Ottawa finished on March 10th, unfortunately marred by the tragic death of our partner John Candy. A decision should be issued in early June, and if a license is granted, CH would be the origination center for the service and would be a potential supplier of technical and studio facilities. It was once said that broadcasting is programming and sales, everything else is housekeeping. While we already have great housekeeping at CHCH, the next time I have the opportunity to talk to you, I hope to be able to report that we also have a great house. Thank you.